What if you did everything right? Worked for 40 years, paid your bills, raised your family, saved when you could, and still ended up worrying about money every single month after retirement? It happens more often than people think. Because retirement doesn't just change how much money you make. It changes how your entire financial life works. Your paycheck stops, but your mortgage doesn't. Your groceries don't. Your insurance doesn't. And inflation definitely doesn't. The scary part? Most people don't discover their retirement mistakes while they're working. They discover them after the paycheck disappears. But there's a way to prepare. 7 simple money rules can dramatically change the way you approach retirement. And Rule 7 could completely change the way you think about your retirement number. Let's start with the first one. Here's a retirement mistake that looks harmless, but can quietly destroy your financial future. Spending without knowing where your money goes. During your working years, you may think, I earn enough. But retirement changes the question. It's no longer, how much do I earn? It's, how much do I actually need? Imagine 2 people. Person A earns $80,000 a year, but spends almost all of it. Person B earns $60,000, but consistently spends less than they earn and invests the difference. Who is better prepared for retirement? It's not necessarily the person with the bigger paycheck, because income isn't wealth. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is where your financial future is built. Start by tracking your expenses. Housing, food, transportation, subscriptions, insurance, entertainment, and the expenses you barely notice. Because small leaks can sink a big ship. And once you know where your money is going, you can finally decide where it should go instead. Now imagine you're retired. Your investments are doing fine. Your pension is coming in. Everything looks under control. Then suddenly, your car needs a major repair, or your roof starts leaking, or an unexpected family expense appears. Where does the money come from? If the answer is, I'll sell some investments, you may have a problem. Because markets don't care when you need the money. Your emergency doesn't wait for a bull market. That's why a retirement plan needs a safety net. Keep enough accessible cash to handle unexpected essential expenses without immediately selling long-term investments. Think of this money differently. It's not money sitting around doing nothing. It's insurance against financial panic. Because the goal isn't simply to grow your money. The goal is to avoid being forced into a bad financial decision at the worst possible moment. And that brings us to Rule 3. Debt can feel manageable when you have a salary. But retirement changes everything. A $500 monthly payment may seem acceptable when you're earning a full-time income. But when your monthly retirement income is significantly lower, that same payment can become a huge burden. And expensive debt is even more dangerous. Credit cards, high-interest personal loans, consumer debt. Every month, interest takes a piece of your income, without giving you anything in return. That's why one of your biggest retirement goals should be simple. Reduce the debt that consumes your future cash flow. Don't just ask, can I afford this payment? Ask, do I want this payment following me into retirement? Because your future self will have fewer opportunities to increase income, which means the decisions you make today become even more important tomorrow. But there's another danger most people underestimate. For decades, your salary may have been your financial engine. Every month, you work. You get paid. You pay your bills. You repeat. But retirement breaks that cycle. And suddenly, your salary disappears. That's why relying on a single source of retirement income can create unnecessary risk. A stronger plan may involve several sources. Retirement benefits, pensions, investment income, retirement accounts, real estate, business income, or other assets. You don't need all of them. But you should understand where your retirement money will actually come from. Because here's the uncomfortable question. If one source disappeared tomorrow, what would happen to your lifestyle? If the answer is, I'd be in serious trouble, you have identified a vulnerability. and vulnerabilities are much easier to fix when you're still working. Here's one of the most expensive thoughts in personal finance. I'll start later. I'll invest when I earn more. I'll invest when my kids finish school. I'll invest when the economy improves. I'll invest when I understand everything. Then 5 years pass. Then 10. And suddenly, retirement is much closer than you expected. Here's the advantage you can never get back. Time. Compound growth needs time. You don't necessarily need a huge amount of money on day one. You need consistency, regular contributions, a diversified long-term approach, and patience. The biggest mistake isn't starting small. The biggest mistake is waiting so long that you have to start big. Because when time disappears, money has to work much harder to compensate. Here's a trap that looks like success. You get a raise. You upgrade your car. Another raise. Bigger house. Another raise. More expensive vacations. Another raise. More subscriptions. Your income rises, but your financial freedom doesn't. This is lifestyle inflation, and it can quietly destroy your retirement plan. Because the more expensive your lifestyle becomes, the more money you'll need to maintain it. Someone who needs $2,500 a month to live has a very different retirement challenge from someone who needs $7,000. That's why every raise shouldn't automatically become a new expense. When your income increases, consider increasing your savings and investments first. Enjoy some of the increase, but don't let every extra dollar become a permanent monthly obligation. Because there's something incredibly powerful about needing less money. The less you need, the less your investments have to produce. And now we reach the most important rule. Most people say, I want to have enough money for retirement. But how much is enough? $500,000? $1 million? $2 million? There is no universal answer. Because retirement isn't about reaching a magical number. It's about matching your assets and income to the life you actually want to live. Start with one number. How much will I need every month? Then calculate. How much will come from Social Security or other guaranteed income? How much from pensions? How much from investments? How much from other assets? Then look at the gap. That gap is the number you need to solve. And this changes everything. Because instead of saying, I need to become rich, you can say, I need to build enough reliable resources to cover this specific lifestyle. That's a much more realistic goal. Now let's do a simple test. Imagine your paycheck disappeared tomorrow. Could your current financial system survive? Could you pay your housing costs, food, healthcare, insurance, transportation, unexpected expenses, and still have enough money left to enjoy your life? If the answer is no, don't panic. That's not a failure. It's information. And information gives you something extremely valuable. Time to act. The earlier you identify the gap, the more options you have. You can save more, invest more, reduce expenses, pay down debt, change your lifestyle, increase your income, or simply give your money more time to compound. Here's what most people misunderstand about retirement. You don't need to predict the future perfectly. You need to build a financial system that can survive an imperfect future. Markets will rise. Markets will fall. Inflation will change. Expenses will surprise you. Your plans may change. That's normal. The goal isn't to eliminate every risk. It's to avoid being financially destroyed by one. And that's why these 7 rules matter. Know where your money goes. Build a safety net. Eliminate expensive debt. Diversify your income. Invest early. Control lifestyle inflation. And know your retirement number. Your retirement isn't determined on the day you stop working. It's being determined right now by the decisions you make with every paycheck. Every dollar you save. Every dollar you invest. Every debt you eliminate. Every unnecessary expense you refuse. And every year you give your money to grow. So don't ask, will I have enough? Ask the better question. What can I change today to make sure I do? Because retirement should not be the moment when you discover your money isn't enough. It should be the moment when you finally realize you prepared for it. If this video helped you rethink your retirement, subscribe and watch the next video. Because there's one retirement mistake that can quietly destroy years of savings without you even realizing it.